You're building grapes,
Yep.
and your mom made wine.
Yep. Yeah.
And your dad built. It's,
Yeah.
Dude, I got it now.
Yeah,
Okay.
it all makes sense. And I grew
No.
up, in my grandpa's basement, which has every tool that you could ever. He was an engineer as well.
Didn't every
actually,
grandpa have tools in their basement?
Yeah.
My grandfather had tools, and I learned to build things, and that's gone.
I hope it's not gone. I mean, I got a son. Hopefully, I'll be that grandpa someday.
How old is your son?
3.
Cool.
Yeah. He's a lot of fun.
So
I haven't quite let him use the saws yet, but he's got a hammer and nails and everything.
Season 1 Flagstaff, Nate Friedman, again, probably one of the best mustaches in the history of the world. Nate has a beer brewing, Nate has a beer brewery, and self-taught, as you're going to see in the piece. And I learned so much about the craftsmanship that goes into beer, and who knew that you actually had the same chemistry and the same commitment and the same science to making beer as you do to wine or champagne. And Nate really educates me here and leaves me just absolutely blown away at the complexity of making great beer.
Very engineering story here. I had a couple friends who called me up and said, hey, my neighbor's got an apple tree. We should make apple cider. And these are the kinds of requests that just seems perfectly normal. And I said, great, let's build a cider press. There was 3 different strains of yeast in there, and then I fermented beer.
How did you determine there's 3 different strains?
I taught myself microbiology. Of course I did, right? Don't act like you're surprised.
I'm not, I'm just like, man.
One of those 3 is the yeast that is used in this beer.
Oh, so that's like the genesis,
It
right?
is literally the only place on earth that you can get this beer. It cannot be duplicated, is here at Wanderlust.
So that's the original seed, if you will.
That's the seed, yep. It's cryogenically stored at 2 different labs now as our insurance policy.
So that's like the sprig in Cali, in the wine country. They take that sprig, they clip it, and then they grow it.
Yeah.
Season 2 in Wynwood, celebrating the culture there, and especially the Puerto Rican culture and the longevity of it there as it settled into Wynwood before Wynwood was cool. Here I sit with the owners and the family, the 5th generation of Bajareque. I probably announced that incorrectly, but anyway, did I? Bajareque. But I fell in love with Mercedes. I fell in love with her family and the history there. And sitting at that table is multi-generational. Do you actually cook at home since you've been cooking here only?
Always.
Really?
My mother always has time to cook. Our grandmother always had time to cook. Yeah.
Even though it'll be more or less the same dishes.
Exactly.
Ropa vieja on Monday
I wouldn't be
instead of.
complaining.
It gets repetitive when your parents are constantly bringing you the pastries home.
Pastelitas and
Pastelitos, all of it. It's like, okay, enough. I can't eat any more pasteles de carne. I cannot.
Are you guys going to dig in, or are you going to make me beat up this up myself?
Well, I might have my hands tied.
I know you do. In season 2, robotics, we spent quite a bit of time spanning the globe, and in this clip here, I sit with Scott Hunnekens, who is the former CEO of Verb Surgical and a consummate entrepreneur within the medtech industry. And I would say Scott is one of the evangelists within digital health. But what Scott really does is exceptionally well is explains how powerful and why we want to listen and consider our move into that surgical robotic realm. And by the way, those were really true Guinness pours that we're hitting at the table. Enjoy. What are you keeping your eyes on to stand guard at for the patient and for the public?
Yeah, so from a public standpoint, I mean, we're moving surgery more from an art to a science. And so a number of surgeons consider themselves artists, and they don't want to be kind of monitored by Big Brother and be told what to do or not to do, and my way's better or unique. So there's a little bit of an issue there, because now when we have people using all these robots, we actually can collect that data and understand truly whose technique is better and who's getting better outcomes. It might be that guy who does 100 cases in Peoria is actually better than that surgeon who has all these accolades and talks at all these big meetings and is the lead surgeon at the Mayo Clinic.